And welcome everyone to another fun episode. Oop, hold on. My bad there. And welcome everyone to another fun episode here at IELTS Talk. Sorry about that. Minor glitch. My name is Paul Kreischer, one of your hosts here for this evening. My colleague in arms here tonight, Gary Harding. Gary, how are you doing?
Good evening, sir. I'm doing okay.
Good. So, yes, welcome boys and girls. How are you? I'm here to bug the crap out of both of you. We wouldn't expect anything less.
Anything less? No, absolutely not.
Absolutely. Good evening, boys. Frank, how are you? So, we're gonna
Well,
get into a little
actually
bit of
that's Mike.
everything.
His name is Mike, but that's okay. It's
Is it
not.
Mike?
Yeah, it's Mike.
What the hell, Frank?
It's
Mike, you should have
long
told
story.
me.
Long story. Long story.
All right, still, he was here last week. He should have told me his name was Mike. What the hell? Kept calling him Frank all last week.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, folks, we're gonna cover a couple of things here tonight. We're gonna cover the Isles season ticket holder meetings. With the players. Gary's going to take care of that one for me. And then we're going to cover the standings ever so briefly. And I have to tell you, one of the reasons why I continue to do the show past the trade deadline is the water cooler talk. Normally, I normally don't do shows. We normally don't do shows because it's springtime, it's a little busy. But this is where I start covering the draft, especially around April 1st. And there's a lot of playoff hockey to watch. College, Europe, the Memorial Cup tournament. But I wanted to keep this show going for the rest of this season so that way you can come into our world. Because I love talking prospects with Gary. I know he just sits there and listens, but he gets to understand where I'm coming from most of the time
Totally.
and what I wanted.
And despite the fact that Paul and I bust each other's chops a lot on this show and outside this show and everything else, I will give him so much credit because he does get a lot of knowledge on the prospects and stuff, and he does an unbelievable job of going through this. And believe me, Paul has not paid me to say this.
No.
No, no, I really
No.
do. And just adding on to that, I might even, if Paul doesn't want to do it, he can let me run the show and maybe we can run
Yes.
water cooler talk during the playoffs. I'd be glad to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. No, I think we will do that because that 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 playoff is going to be very, very fun to watch. And I can't
Yeah,
wait. I
it's going to
can't
be
wait
great.
to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, real quick, Gary, the mic is yours here.
Okay.
Tell everyone how the Isles season ticket holder meeting went.
Well, I'm sure there's some people on the chat room that were there. I know a few were, but I went to this thing with, I'll say, not a lot of expectations because I know what's
Good.
happened in the past.
Right.
I won't knock them, but it was really a depressing. Some of them have been depressing. What they decided to do was they did two sets. One was geared more towards the kids. That was the early part of the season ticket holder get together, and then 7 o'clock where I went was the second half. And what they did was they put it into two groups. So two groups of six guys came in, and Shannon and Thomas did a great job. Getting some insights into the guys. Asking some pretty good questions of them, not just hockey, but things in general. And then they let the fans answer, and then they geared it really towards the kids that came in the late session too, which I thought was really cool. And many people know in this group that listen. Yes, my basement has been getting progressively messier because we are actually going to be doing some work around the room, so we're moving things around. So yes, absolutely right. That's why I keep this thing background blurred out. Yes, exactly. But seriously, we are doing. I'm on the DL for a little while from my job, so my wife's keeping me busy, and we're going to do some stuff around the house. So yes, it's going to be a mess for a while until it gets better. But anyway, back to the thing. The kids got to ask questions, and a couple of them were really cute, and especially this one 10-year-old girl that was really, I guess, a big Oliver Wahlstrom fan, and she really was hoping that he was going to do better, and really wished him well. And I'll tell you, Ollie almost went into tears. He literally did. He's like, I want to give this little girl a hug. And at the end of their session, it was adorable. The guys were really good. Some of them were funny. Wallstrom was ripping at Pierre Engvall for him not knowing how to change a tire. It was a lot of good questions, a lot of fun. I like the format. For those of you know me from the Booster Club and stuff, it's kind of what we used to do at a Booster Club meeting. Unfortunately, with the CBA, and it's not loose rules because this change occurred long before Mr. Lamorello ever got here. The players can't do as many appearances as they used to, as they did, in the 90s and 80s when I were involved. But yeah, that was good, Tim. Very good.
All right, Tim. We'll give you that. Oh man, bring it on tonight. Good
it's
God.
gonna be fun. But anyway, it was really a nice event. Like I said, a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. But good job on the Islanders team for setting it up. And I know people probably wanted a lot more than that, but you know what? Again, in this day and age is different. When we were 18 and 19 years old, when we were hanging out at the Coliseum after games and stuff, it's a whole different atmosphere with these guys. So you don't get to know the personalities as much. You don't get to see much of how they are outside of the rink. But some of them had some really good responses, to the kids, which was a lot of fun. Good. But I'll leave it at that.
Well, let me ask you then real quick. From a dressing room standpoint, or just the way he was interacting with the players, does it feel like Oliver Wahlstrom is just waiting for his opportunity, or does he look like he's ready to be traded? What was his? I know you said he was funny and whatnot, but if
they really, because again, it was the kids asking most of the questions, so you really didn't get what I would consider to be deeper questions.
Sure.
I mean, the camaraderie and all that came out and that, okay. But if I walked into the room and not knowing what was going on, and I watched, as I always talk about on this show, body language is a big thing.
Sure. Yes.
And to me, even with just an interview session, you could see that the 6 guys that were up, when Wahlstrom was there, they were all like joking and very, very funny. So, when you hear the talk about this team being close, and that you kind of can guess that they really are. Okay. Anders talked about it in his session, which was the second session that we had. And, right. Anders is a very sincere and direct person. I remember when we interviewed him when we were covering the team in Bridgeport, how right up front he is. And, you could tell there's no BS with him at all. And, he really said, he said, this locker is very, very close. And they, and the one thing all these guys admitted, they know the clock, the clock is hanging towards 12. It's getting close to midnight. They know it, but there is no doubt in my mind that, they're gonna bust their hump, as hard as they can through the end of the season. And, Wahlstrom was funny. He was interactive with the other guys. Everybody was good. There was no, you could tell this is a team that does not have, they may have a bunch of guys go out to dinner together, but there's really I don't think there's any cliques in the room.
Good. So, all right. So real quick, Brian, I'm going to come back to this comment. Thank you for bringing up these two. I know you've been watching this show for years. You know I've brought them up, Cameron Berg and Alex Jeffries, quite a few times over the years. Give me a few more minutes, and I will definitely go over them because I think they're going to be part of the Islanders at some point.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So, having said that, let's get to the team itself. One and done, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who have been following the show for the last 5 years now, thank you so much.
Yes.
You guys know I play the percentages, and even up to now in the standings. And for me, can I emotionally take them out of a playoff hunt? Yeah, probably. Let's not kid ourselves here.
No.
Emotionally, we can all check out at the moment. However, the math for me, I can't do it yet, and here's why. Um, the Islanders need to lose one more regulation game, and all Philadelphia has to do is gain 1 point. That's it. I've told you guys before. I can eliminate the Islanders to the day. I can't do it yet unless they lose in regulation. If they lose one more game in regulation for the time being, over the let's just have fun with this over the weekend. If they lose once, they're done. If Philadelphia doesn't gain any points whatsoever, or if they only gain 1 point and the Islanders don't lose in regulation this entire weekend, mathematically they're still in it.
Yep.
That's where you're getting that 12% from. Literally, that's where you're getting that 12% from. That 12%, they can make it into the playoffs or whatnot. It might be down to 7, who knows? But I'm actually describing you how that 7% is still there. Now, emotionally, if you have them marked off, that's fine. Some of you can even make the case that they were eliminated right around Thanksgiving. Fair. Whatever. I can't, I'm not going to debate emotions like that. That's fair. But the math right now, the Islanders, yeah, the writing is certainly, yeah, they're still in it. Yeah, but the writing is on the wall, right?
Well, let's put it this way: the fat lady hasn't sang yet, but she's got the banaka in her hand.
Oh God, yeah,
yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, and you know what, guys?
We totally get it. We totally get it.
We do. Yeah. Listen, for me, if we're talking about emotions, and remember, I got a dual degree in psychology here. Lots of experience with this. For me, the biggest emotional moment was probably losing to the Rangers.
Yes.
In that stadium series.
Yes.
I don't think the Islanders have recovered from that since.
Totally right. Even though they had that little run, it's not. They have not been the same. They were They were playing strong coming into there, and you felt comfortable with their game.
Right.
And that last 5 minutes of the third period just symbolized the downfall.
Right. Right. Now, again, we also found out that Scott Mayfield had season-ending surgery. Now, I want to make this clear, folks. This is not regular season-ending surgery. When someone has season-ending surgery, it usually means all the way through the Stanley Cup playoffs in this case. So, if Scott had some kind of a major medical miracle, he probably wouldn't be able to come back until the end of June or the NHL Draft.
Yeah.
Okay. And yes, it has been reported by numerous outlets that, he may have suffered this injury game 1. So if he's been playing with that kind of injury all season long, comes back and try to win a couple of games with the Isles, I would I may cut him a little more slack than, and thank him for at least trying. But, you know, and again, I'll agree with this one, Matthew, on Adam Pelech, that Brendan Gallagher hit. I think that was another changer as well. So again, as I said last week, I'm kind of looking to see if there's another laundry list of players who need surgeries. And they've been playing through a lot of, pain and whatnot. But we'll get into that when the season's finally over, because we won't be able to talk about that until we actually know. And again, I love you guys. You guys are jumping the gun here, but we're all on that same mental side here. Bring on the kids. Okay. Let's have fun with this. I'm not gonna lie. If the Islanders lose against Florida or they lose against Tampa and they come home, I would probably sit Sorokin for the rest of the year, or have him play very, very sparingly. I would actually bring up Jakob Skark.
He's done a nice job of late.
He's done a nice job of late. I just want to see if he can play in the NHL. I don't care if he wins. If anyone needs if anyone needs shots on goal right now, it's Jakob Skark. Go back to the Lane Lambert system on purpose for the rest of this season and let Jakob Skark try to save 40 shots in the NHL. Give it to him. Why not? I'm all for it. I would like to see Ruslan Ishakov get some playing time. Not a lot. I cringe sometimes, but I know you guys want to see him. So honestly, it's more for your benefit to see him than me. My only hope is that the Islanders can take whoever they're playing to a shootout.
Yeah, that would be
because
fun.
he's not going to be able to do what he's doing up here, guys. He's not going to be able to do that in the NHL. They already know that. You know what? Yeah. And again, they have enough cap space where you can bring up one or two of these players. I don't think it would be a bad idea. And in all honesty, if any of these Islander players are that injured, and I'm on IR,
sit them out.
Let them, sit down for the rest of the year, free a little more cap space. And you know what, Greg? I'm also I'm not going to say Wallstrom's done just yet, but I'm going to go off that. I would like to see Wally get those games in to go along with Samuel Bolduc.
Yeah.
They haven't played in a while. Put them in here. Why not? Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. Put them back in the lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. Once, it's, once they had that X next to their name or the Z next to their name, which means or the E, actually the E eliminated. Yeah, put them in. Why not?
Yeah. Why not? Rest up some of these guys. Listen, is there anybody else in the chat room that you want to see come up? Bring them in here and we'll talk about it real quick. What can Lou do with Tikkanen? Sign him to an NHL two-way contract.
Yes.
That's number one. Okay. Tikkanen is on a AHL Bridgeport deal, like many of them are. Could an NHL team sign him right now? Yes, they could.
Mm-hmm.
Will they? Probably not.
No.
Okay. There's a lot of respect for Lou, despite what others may say. The rest of the NHL has a grand respect for Lou here. So that would be step number one. With Ken Appleby no longer being on the roster heading into next season, an NHL two-way contract for Tikkanen probably would be a good choice.
Wait, what happened? I'm sorry, I may have missed that. What happened with Appleby?
Tikkanen. Appleby's a UFA.
Oh, he's a number. Oh, okay. He's
a UFA heading into So your next one would be Tikkanen. Okay. Right.
Makes sense.
Robin Salo. You know what? Why not? I'm all right with it. He had a decent season this year. Took him long enough, but he had a decent season. So did I have his face. Left wing, offensive defenseman for Bridgeport. You guys help me out. I had a moment here. I'll get him in a minute.
Not the one from Seattle.
No, Detroit's former draft pick. I'll get it. See, I got everything but the name at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Sit Pellick. Why not? Someone's saying hi to you, Gary.
Oh, yeah, my friend from St. Louis.
Yeah. Maggio is a no for me.
No,
Listen,
absolutely
Maggio.
not.
No, Maggio is just getting the AHL, boys and girls. Trust me. His father is a strength and conditioning coach, especially with other NHL players. Okay. Maggio is going to tell his dad what he needs to work on. The Islanders are going to tell him what he needs to work on. He needs to get a little more size. He needs to work on his 200-foot game, which has been improving. There's no doubt about that. But again,
he's still a raw
Maggio
talent. He's still a very raw talent.
Raw
But
talent.
it's there. Oh, it's there.
Right.
It's ready. It's cooking.
Yeah.
It's simmering.
Bingo.
It's not at a boil yet, but it's simmering.
Yep. I agree that. Play Duke. I'm also on board with that. And you know who else I'm also on board with, believe it or not? William Dufour. I'm okay with William Dufour now coming up. He's played decent enough. Skating probably could use a little more work, but again, I said this on the show last week. I don't think he would be out of place next year. I don't think he would. If he can get up to Kyle Palmieri's speed, you're good. Because that's really what you're looking for. Greg, I'm going to do the Isles need a new GM who has a modern NHL feel? I'm going to say no for now, and I'm going to describe that a little later on in the show because they've done some college signings and whatnot. But believe it or not, Lou's actually setting up the franchise maybe for the next 3 to 5 years, and he won't be here for those years, but he's already setting up the entire organization. I'm going to get into that in a few minutes. Grant Hutton. Brian, I'm trying to wonder. I don't know if Grant's been injured. I think he has, but Hutton to me, I think was a wasted commodity here. I know they liked Robert Bortuzzo, and again, Lane Lambert was still coaching at the time. If Patrick Waugh was here, maybe Grant Hutton would have gotten that call up. I still think Hutton can get you a minimum 10 to 15 games in the NHL. I don't think he would look out of place. So we'll find out about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he wasn't not a liability when he played.
No. Chalowski. Thank you, Ryan. Oh, I love you.
I was saying the former Seattle player. I was right.
Seattle, yeah, but he was like he was.
He was a Detroit draft pick. I remember.
In one ear and out the other.
Seattle.
Yeah,
he came from Seattle.
You're right. Yes, you're right. You hear that? I'm not paying him either. He's right. Haha. Yes, Dennis Chalowski. Thank you. Yes, that's part of it. And believe it or not, Kowalski, the Bridgeport coach, who, by the way, is also an American Hockey League Coach of the Year. You've got 2 coaches of the year.
300 wins in the AHL. Yeah. It's not a rookie coach.
Yeah. Coaching wise, we're set. Dufour is absolutely progressing. There's no doubt about that. Could I ask a controversial question? Sure. Why not? Do we have to keep watching? Yes, I love controversies. Do we have to keep watching Aho? You know what? Granted, offensively, this has not been his year. No doubt. He's definitely had a regress, but you're asking him to play on the right side, which is something he rarely did. He's a left-handed defenseman. You asked him to play right-handed, and that's what we were talking about. Grant Hutton and Robert Bortuzzo goes down. There's a little bit of a mess we haven't been able to put together yet. I agree wholeheartedly, Brian. Definitely on that. Do I think Enval is an NHL player? Yes, but you got to remember, he was with Toronto. He didn't have to do much in Toronto. Let's be flat out honest.
This system requires him to do a lot more than he was doing as a Maple Leaf. No question.
Yeah. And was he exposed this year? No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. He got a wake-up call. My hope is that our hope is that it's a sophomore slump. Like this was a complete wake up
Yeah,
call for him.
yeah.
No
Give
doubt.
give the year. Give the year.
Yeah. Rodney, he actually wasn't hurt. If I understand correctly, he had a family issue, which we're not going to get into, but he,
Mhm.
mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally, kind of stuttered him there for those 12 games. Yeah, that's where you get that derailed from. He wasn't injured per se.
No, it was personal.
Family
It was
thing,
personal time.
definitely a personal thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no question.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he should be an NHL regular. He could be a call up next season. I don't want to go this slow. He's kind of like this close to being an NHL call up, but definitely some reps.
Yeah, you can get him a
If
game or two.
Clutter if Clutterbuck is not retiring, I want him back on a 1-year deal. Ooh,
That's a tough one.
that's a tough one. We'll get into Clutter in the next section here. So, all right. Well, listen, I like all these players here. Um, Yeah, no, Enval is inconsistent. Some games, I agree. I agree with everything you guys are saying about Enval. Whatever happened to Bodie Wild? Um, he stopped playing. Like that was it. He did not put up a lot of great numbers in Bridgeport when he was there. He played in the East Coast Hockey League. He did put up a lot of great numbers there. He's in one of the tier 2 teams now in the German league, I think. Just Yeah.
Yeah.
He couldn't get the game together, and from what I've been told, especially from other scouts who cover the draft, character was a big issue with him, which is why he fell from he was supposed to be a top 15 pick in that 2018 draft. He fell all the way into the Islanders' lap at what 23, 24, or much lower, 40 something.
43,
Yeah,
44.
because
Yeah.
I was thinking second round pick, but yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. He's over in Europe. So listen, real quick, boys and girls. Um, this is why I continue to do the show here for now. I want to bring you guys into my world of the draft, and I want to bring you guys in real quick about
Sorry, I had to
oh
laugh at one of the
what
comments.
what now?
Wild joined Hosang on his new rap single.
Oh, you guys are good. Okay,
Ryan,
that
way
was
to go,
good.
bud.
Yeah,
Way to go.
that
That was
was good.
great.
Okay. Anyway,
And back to the
that was
younger
good.
players.
I got to give him that. That was good.
That was very good.
So listen, um, Bridgeport signing McDonald to another to a contract, and Matthias Rajaniemi, an Islander draft pick back in 2000, one of the youngest, if not the youngest, left-handed defenseman,
Sixth
coming
round, was he
over
sixth round
across
pick?
the
Something like
pond.
that.
What's
Sixth
that?
round pick, I think. I think he was a sixth round pick.
Rajaniemi is, yes. McDonald
Okay.
was not. He was a free agent signing.
No, I know he's a free agent. Yes, for sure.
Yes. Yeah, he was a free agent signing. So listen, folks, this is what I have been hoping for. This was finally the year that I was hoping everything would come together. The idea that I thought Lou had after 2019, and especially during those COVID seasons, draft really, really young the first couple of seasons, which is what he did with Holmstrom. It's what he did with Wallstrom. It's what he's done with Rajaniemi. It's what he's done with Kelly Odelius and a couple of the others. He's drafted really, really young players. After that, you started to notice that he was drafting overagers. Hello, William DeFore. Hello, Maggio. A couple of the other guys. Okay. But what we also noticed in 2020 and 21, more specifically, because of COVID, players did not get to play as many games as you wanted them to play. Ruins their development or at least stalls them big time by a solid year. That's why you saw a lot of players last season not get qualified as restricted free agents, and they all went off their way. Okay. They lose that year of development. So, what Lou did during that 2020 and 21 seasons was that he was drafting college players as well. So at some point, there was a hope for me that everyone would be coming together to build up Bridgeport, to build up Worcester. So then at some point, the Islanders would not have to trade their first round draft pick. And when that player was drafted, let's say the Islanders drafted, for the sake of argument, let's say they drafted 25th this year. This player that gets drafted and comes in 2 years, because of the drafting and the strategy that Lou has done, and because of the college free agents that he's now bringing in, Bridgeport and Worcester are both going to be solid to the point now that if he were to draft someone, say at number 25, because of the level of competition and because of how young Bridgeport really is, that number 25 could turn into a top 20 pick or a top 17 pick, something else like that. You're increasing the value of that first round draft pick. You're also increasing the value of that second round pick because who knows, with the proper development, and now you have an AHL coach of the year in Bridgeport, a second round pick could turn into a first round talent. And this year, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I have been waiting for. There's a lot of college free agents coming in. There's been a lot of players now coming in, even the kids from college from a couple of years ago. They're doing really well in Worcester. I hope they all get called up at some point for Bridgeport. Jake Pavanka's had a very good year. Christian Kreiser has had a very good year for Worcester as long as he wasn't injured. There's a couple of players who could come up. So now what we have here is that if the Islanders do miss the playoffs, it'll change by next week, I promise. Okay. You're looking at a 13 to 15, maybe a 12 to 15 pick in this year's draft. Because of the kids coming in to Bridgeport, the philosophy is this kid that the Islanders draft in 2 years, he's going to be coming from either Europe or the Canadian Hockey League or whatever, even college. But once you enter Bridgeport, the amount of work that that player is going to have to put in just to get a taste of the National Hockey League is going to be a lot. Danny Nelson, we didn't even talk about Danny Nelson yet. Danny Nelson's one of the top freshman centers in college. He's going to have to put in some work when he gets to Bridgeport now. By the way, college kids, Cameron Berg, I think he plays on Friday for North Dakota. Wisconsin's also playing. Watch those two because you got Islander prospects in there. When those kids are ready, they got to come up to a Bridgeport team that's going to be much better over the years. No more re-upping the same old tired vets. That's true. We got to start getting younger. Look at what's done for Team Nashville, Philly, and Washington. I'm going to add something a little more specific to that. Look at the Dallas Stars, Brian. The Dallas Stars have never traded their first round pick, and they do that. Even Boston. Boston's in the same realm here to a degree. They love signing these college free agent kids. Why? Because it improves the development of their prospects. The Islanders as an organization right now are at a point where they don't have to trade their first round pick. And if they do, and this is something for the draft, boys and girls, if the Islanders do trade their first round pick this year, it's probably for a top 4 defenseman or a top 6 forward. Because if you're picking between 13 and 15 or 12 and 15, you're probably looking at a middle 6 forward. Solid middle 6 forward. But with the proper kids, the proper competition, the proper coach, the proper development now we're going to see in Bridgeport, could that player turn into a top 6 forward, even for a couple of years? So there's more value right now coming from that first round draft pick. So Lou really has to be enticed. to trade that first round pick for whatever player we get. That's where we are at as an organization. And at this point, folks, Quinn Finley's another one. Okay. And Brian, I'm going to go up here. Where's Brian? He had the long one. We were talking about Alex Jeffries. Bingo. Alex Jeffries and Cameron Berg. Okay. I said this before last week, and I'll say it again, and I've been saying it now for a little while. I don't like to promote prospects. I hate doing it. Gary knows I'm hard on it.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I'm a much harder grader than everyone else. I still think Alex Jeffries on that left wing side could replace Anders Lee as a top 6 forward. May not be the beginning of next season. Do I think he could be a call-up next season? Absolutely. Would I think he'd be out of place? Give the kid 30 to 40 games in Bridgeport, and then I'll probably say no. I would like to see him get the Travis Hamonic treatment. Travis only needed 30 to 40 games in the AHL, and he was ready to go after that. For me, Jeffries is probably the most NHL ready out of all of the prospects. Okay? I'm not saying he's going to be a world beater, but it's like I said before, if Anders Lee scores 12 goals or 15 goals one season, Alex Jeffries can score 12 goals and 15 goals to replace Anders Lee that next season. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's not going to be the issue. Cameron Berg, for me, I still have him at some point 4th line center, maybe a 3rd line center every once in a while. He is your pest. He's the one player you love on your team, but you're going to hate him if he's on someone else's team. He's kind of got the rat from Boston. That's Berg. He's a little stinker who loves to tick people off, but he will defend all of his teammates. Absolutely. He's still there. So, yes, he did. He got his first. Yep, he did. He got his first assist. He almost got 2 assists. The one thing with Jeffries, and I know he's trying to be nice now, Jeffries has a snipe. He should have used it against the Bridgeport game, but I think he passed it to Ishakov, and Ishakov missed. But that was an opportunity that Jeffries probably should have shot the puck first. So once he stops being nice, he gets to be a little greedy. But again, once he learns the system, once he learns the players, and he's allowed to shoot that puck, beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
The kid's got poise. For anybody who hasn't seen him.
Yes.
Incredible amount of poise for him.
Yes.
For him. He had to be the guy, with Merrimack. Merrimack's a decent team. It's not a world-beating college team, but he really showed, last year what this kid is made of. And, I'm very excited to see. I didn't get to see anything from the Bridgeport game, but I heard he had a very good game.
Yeah. And again, folks, I haven't been excited with a prospect like this probably since Sorokin.
Yeah. I would think so.
And it's difficult for me to say that. I did like Bellows when he was first drafted. I did like Wallstrom when he was first drafted, but the path they took wasn't. They were warning signs for me.
Yeah.
During their progression.
Yeah. I mean, just remember, folks, you absolutely pray that any of you guys that you sign that go as a freshman to college, don't do. I hate to say it, but don't do the Oliver Wallstrom way. Don't let somebody get in your head saying you could be in the NHL right now. No, stay 2 years.
Yeah.
Absolutely stay 2 years. Unless you're a number 1 or number 2 pick, stay 2 years and get not only the education that you get outside of hockey will help you with the rest of your career. You know, the discipline and everything that goes with having the studies and the game. I think that's paramount. You see it. You see it in Anders Lee. You see how, you know, how eloquent he is too. You know, and how very smart that man is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, Tommy, I'm gonna go along with this. You know what would really make me smile about Matthew Maggio? If he were to get the Nino Niederreiter treatment. Purposely play him on the fourth line where that 200 game is important. And once the coach feels he's ready, boom, unleash him. That's where I would want to see that. But Maggio knows that this is a great part about the kid. He knows he's working on his 200-foot game. He knows he still needs work on it. That's why I don't want to bring him up yet. I don't want to bring these kids up.
We don't want Kowalski-itis.
Yeah, I don't want to build up these kids and all of a sudden they show up to the NHL and they're not ready and they're duds and whatnot. No. When they come up to the NHL, you want to make sure that they can at least look like they're ready to play. Jeff Reese, to me right now, is your Anders Lee replacement. I think he's close. Cameron Berg, for me, could be Casey Zizekas' replacement at some point, maybe even Kyle McLean's. I wouldn't mind if it was Casey, Kyle, and then Cameron. Either way, within 2 years, I could see Kyle and Cameron Berg both playing on the same line at some point. Their speed, their tenacity, the way they play, that would be some fun fourth line to watch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. So anyway, folks, that's with the importance of signing these college free agents. It's kind of like that final step where the kids are now coming together. The Islanders do have one or two who could eventually be able to make the jump. Now, I'm going to say this now. Do I expect anybody signed here lately to make the team? No, but that's not the point. Do I expect Rajaniemi to make the team? Or maybe play a couple of NHL games? No. Maybe in a couple of years. I don't expect these kids at all to get NHL contracts. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the competition. I'm looking for the talent level to rise in Bridgeport for future picks ahead. Because when they come into this organization and they see the winning going on and they see they're not in Kansas anymore, there's another level of work that they need to do if they want to become a New York Islander. To steal Barry's words here to a degree, you're going to have to go through Bridgeport. That's what they do in Nashville. That's what they do in Dallas. That's what they're doing in Detroit. That's what they're doing in Washington. You want to know why Washington's doing so well? Because the Hershey Bears won the Calder Cup trophy last year. Those kids who were playing in the Calder Cup trophy, they've been called up, folks. They're already used to this pressure situation. This is where Bridgeport needs to get to. Those pressure situations. Get these kids on a winning streak, get them into the playoffs, and go.
Why do you?
This is where we are.
And why do you always see the Providence Bruins doing so well? The Boston Bruins doing so well. It's Providence. Their pipeline is fantastic.
Right.
So, Washington, everybody thought, and we all thought that Washington wasn't going to do anything, but it's a lot of those kids that won the championship last year with Hershey that are doing the job up in the end right now. And that's why they're on the they're still in the hunt, and I think have a decent chance to make it. Yeah. And we did not think that at all in October, but that's what having that pipeline will do for you.
Right.
No doubt about it.
And Brian, I completely forgot about this, but you're right. Danny Nelson, Quinn Finley won gold for the U.S. and World Juniors, and next year they'll have bigger roles. Absolutely. Folks, Danny Nelson's one of the top freshman centers in college.
Wasn't
That's
he
what
on
you
the
want to
fourth?
hear.
Wasn't he on the fourth line in the juniors?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was.
And again, don't worry about the numbers right now. When you're a
No,
freshman and sophomore in college, do not worry about numbers. Forget that. All you want to know is how they're improving.
and they're doing quite well at ND. Yeah.
Did Edmonton really try to acquire Matt Martin at the deadline? I heard something about that. But again, what were you going to get? I jokingly, of course. I didn't even look too far into this. What were we going to get? A 2028 6th-round pick? You know, that's probably what they offered, and Lou said no. So, you know, Nashville is a huge eye opener, yes, but it's an 18-game win streak. What are they going to do after that win streak? I'm telling you right now, Barry's more worried about what are you guys going to do after this streak is over? How are you going to respond when this streak is over? Are you going to start another one? Are you going to continue your winning ways? Yeah, the streak is great. Don't get me wrong. And kudos to Gary for putting Nashville in the playoffs because I know I didn't. Gary did at the beginning of this season.
I sure did.
Yeah. I am rooting for the kid. You know what? I hope he does well. I'm sure some eyes are going to be on him, maybe in the American Hockey League. Who knows? He's got some things to work up on. Dal Cole, to my knowledge, is still in the Finnish league somewhere. Yes, Bridgeport was one of the worst scoring teams this year, and that's why they started bringing in college players who can put the puck in the net, including Alex Jeffries. And I agree with that. Yes. Yeah. Listen, Danny Nelson, for me, he's in a Brock Nelson mold. He's in a Brock Nelson mold, excuse me. So for me, all the pieces are there. So unless the first round draft pick is an absolute big splash at the draft, I wouldn't expect Lou to be making a trade at this point because of the setup that he has done. Granted, COVID messed this up. And it messed it up for a lot of other teams. Okay. That 2020 and 21 draft were probably the two most difficult drafts of all time because of the lack of actual seeing the players, because a lot of that drafting was done through video and some of the amount of games that those kids had to go through. And even some of the kids in the American Hockey League that were playing, their development got screwed quite a bit. So hold off on the 2021, the 20 and the 21 draft. Hold off on them. They're going to take more time. I don't think drafts are horrible, but those are the two drafts in particular that are going to take more time to develop. At the 21st, will the Islanders trade or keep it? I would probably say keep it.
21st overall?
Now, that was just a hypothetical, Thomas. I think the Islanders, if they lose, if they don't make the playoffs, I think you're looking at somewhere between 12 and 15.
The lowest going to be is 15.
Yeah, the lowest you're going to get is 15. I think the highest at this point, depending on how other teams are going to stink, is you're looking at 12.
Probably 12.
Maybe 11. Yeah. But still, with what the Islanders are doing right now, you could turn that level of, what's the word I'm looking for? Talent. Maybe you get yourself a top 10 pick with the right development, and the Islanders are right there.
Yeah, because they're not going to be able to rest on their laurels. At this point, they're not going to rest on their laurels. They're going to have to really, with the extra guys they've got coming in. It's right now was some of those hockey rankings rank us the 32nd best system in the league with the pipeline. I guarantee we're not going to be there,
folks. I can tell you right now that the people who follow the draft, the prospects and whatnot, they don't do rankings. General managers don't follow those rankings. It's entertainment purposes. I'm telling you, bothers me, but that I'll talk about that when we get closer to the draft. Any idea on these college kids? Yeah, they're goal scorers. They're goal scorers. They're 23, 24-year-old goal scorers, and some of them are even on the power play, which is what you need because now you're also bringing in Alex Jeffries for however long he's there. And to my understanding, I don't want to get yelled at. So I'll put it like this. My hope is that Cameron Berg is on Bridgeport next season as well. So we'll go from there. But yeah, the college kids, they're goal scorers. Some of them, one of them, McDonald, is a defenseman out of Providence.
Providence.
Again, Providence did very well. I think Providence was in the top 15 in the nation again this year. I think
they were up there. Yep.
Yeah. So these are good kids. They probably need to work on their two-way game a little bit, like everyone else, but Bridgeport suffered mightily with scoring, and they're addressing that right now. But they're younger kids. We're not looking for the Tanner Fritzes anymore. We're not, we're not letting go of, Androhoff. We're not letting go of all these older players. They're younger. They're 23, 24. That's what you're looking for at this point. 10 years. Brock did not say 10 years. I know. Ooh.
Tough crowd.
I know. Oh, no, John, I completely agree with that. Listen, I think that for now, and again, this is why I watch so much playoff games, Memorial Cup, even Europe, the college. For me, I think after the top 10, there's a drop-off. There's a drop-off after the top 10, which is why Bridgeport needs to be there for these kids moving forward. After the playoffs are over, and I think after the NHL combine, the drafting, maybe can reach the top 15. But then again, the Islanders had the 13th pick, and we traded it for Romanoff. Romanoff is a top 4 defenseman on this team.
And 23 years old.
And 23, just turned 24 in January.
Yep.
Okay. That's
the
level.
Equivalent of getting a good 23-year-old college senior.
Yeah.
And he's NHL ready. And not only NHL ready, but NHL efficient.
Right. So when we're drafting in this number, around this number again, you're looking for a top 4 defenseman or even a top 6 forward minimum from another team if they decide to do a trade. Yeah, 12 through 14, probably. Whatever. That's fine.
And we've got some good guys in that range
here, guys. Yeah.
Dobson came in that range. Walston came in that range. Barzy was 18. So, I mean, it can work. You can get guys that can drop down into that 12, 13 position.
Yeah, you can.
So it's
this
not
year's
out of
draft,
the realm. It's you just know in your mind that you're expecting where that person would tend to be at that position. You figure you're going to figure at least third line, but maybe there's the opportunity going higher. You just leave your expectations down on a little bit and hope.
Yeah, this year's draft, Robin, that's absolutely correct. Offensive defenseman. If the Islanders need anything at this point, it's a right-handed defenseman. If he wants to put up points, wonderful. The Islanders, and I'll get that much deeper into the draft later on in a few weeks, right-handed defenseman is an absolute must.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt. Yeah, no, he's a super guy. Listen, here's the thing real quick with Anders. Okay, I know you guys have been hard on him. I know he's got a $7 million cap hit. He's also taken 50 less shots this year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's by design.
Here's where the stats and what Paul keeps looking at comes into play, boys and girls.
Okay. Anders Lee, you're used to seeing 23, 27 goals from Anders Lee, roughly 45, 50 points, whatever. Okay. Anders Lee at this point has taken 50 less shots, and he's got 18 goals, 36 assists. Where did those 50 shots go to?
36.
Matt Barzal. How many goals does Matt Barzal have? 23?
Career high.
Career high. I know you guys have been down on Anders Lee, but, and I'm not going to play devil's advocate here, but just think about the idea of the coach, either one, it doesn't matter, telling Matt Barzal to shoot the puck more,
which is what you guys always want.
which is what you guys, including myself, I'm guilty of that as well.
Yep.
But he's shooting the puck more and he's having a career year, yet Anders Lee isn't seeing the puck because he's getting beat up 2-on-1 in front of the post, which we all see all the time. But that's the design of how the coach wants his game. Stay in front of the net, try to rack up those rebounding goals. The problem is Barzal doesn't hit the net all the time. Okay? He's shooting, it's getting better, but Anders is taking 50 less shots. If Anders Lee has 50 shots more, you're looking at 22 to 27 goals, depending on what he can do, and you're probably looking at the 50-point range. Yes, the $7 million cap hit is what it is, but for the next 2 years, he's only getting paid $5.3 million. And with the salary cap going up, it kind of alleviates it. But like I said before, the purpose of the last few years was getting a few of these players ready for the NHL. If Anders Lee goes down, you have someone like Alex Jeffries who might be able to get you the same results for pennies on the dollar now. So now you're looking at 2 players for roughly $4 million a year on average, give or take. Granted, okay, before I get yelled at, he hasn't been signed by the Islanders yet. Okay. I'm going to assume it's that entry-level contract for all college players, 2-year deal. You guys know where I'm going with that. Okay. Give Anders Lee 1 more year. Let's see what Patrick Waugh does with this squad over a full season. After that, we move on from that. Have I scouted? I have not, but I have been complimented to the point where I have been told that I could scout on the side, especially in the junior leagues. I would love that $5,000 side gig. You give me $5,000 to scout, I would absolutely do it in a heartbeat. I started doing that when I first started blogging in 2008, when lo and behold, the Islanders were doing a rebuild. So part of the evolution of all of this, including Isles Talk, was learning how the draft works. Is it time to tank? Jim, everyone else has had that humor. Don't start with me yet. Let's see. That's it on the kids. That's what I'm hoping for right now. I'm semi-excited because you literally have to take 5 steps back. And here's the nice thing, folks. After this season, for me, the next general manager for me would be someone like Jim Nill. At this point, the Islanders just need to draft their first-round picks. From here on out, I don't think they have to trade everybody at the moment and do a rebuild, besides the fact that the players don't want to do that. But I can get into that discussion later on another show. If they come in with a Jim Nill type of general manager where he's just drafting first-round picks, signing those college players here and there, the Islanders are going to be in good shape. They really are. And what you're going to see is a very slow transition over the next 2 years of players like Lee, Nelson, maybe, I don't want to step on this right now, maybe Nelson, but some of the older players, Casey Zizekas, they're all going to be replaced at some point, hopefully, by these new kids now coming in from the COVID seasons and all these college kids.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of transitions.
Water cooler talk. Oh,
no. Close.
Close.
Close. The identity line. I'm going to go out on a limb right now. I'm going to respectfully and kindly disagree with Thomas. I think this is going to be it for Matt Martin, Casey Cizikas, and Cal Clutterbuck all together. I think Cizikas obviously is going to be back. I don't know if Matt Martin will. Cal has a good chance, but I can't see all three of them coming back, especially when you hear Wah going, we need to get faster. If this is the final season for the identity line, Gary, and for you guys as well, give me your thoughts on the identity line and what they've meant to you as an Islander fan, and will you be there on that final game in Pittsburgh? I'm sorry, against Pittsburgh at UBS Arena on the last day of the season.
I should be. I'll be there. It was a great run for these guys. I always just loved, when they announced them to start the game, because you always knew, in a lot of cases they were starting, and they, if you were like our good friend John, who used to do shows with us, and John's blind, and if you're just listening to the game and all you hear in the first 10 seconds is crash, crash, crash,
Right.
you knew what to expect when you were seeing the Islanders, and as you said, I love those guys, but you got to look, as Paul does, you got to look at the future, and you got to see what's coming down the pike. As much as you love these guys and you want to see them, all along, 1,050 games for Clutterbuck, Martin's at 900, it's just their game has left them, not that their value is left and not their contributions and what they stand for, but this team, we know as fans, this team has to get younger. This team has to get faster. You can only do just so much. So, I'm just so thrilled at the contributions they gave to this organization. They will always, as Cal said, 12 years here, there's no way in hell he's going anywhere else but here. They've made Long Island their home. They're going to be here forever. So they're always going to be part of Islander lore. So, I'm just thrilled, thrilled of what they've done. And, I will definitely stand up and be, very supportive of these guys.
Right.
No doubt about it.
And I love the comments out of here from you guys as well. Do they belong in the Islanders Hall of Fame together?
Well, they haven't done, there's not been a Hall of Fame induction in years.
Right.
And there's guys that, definitely need to be there.
Right.
Could you put them together? Yeah, I think you could.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think. Okay, we got a couple of yeses, we got a couple of no's here. That's okay. This is just an open-ended question.
Yeah, exactly.
This is water cooler talk, guys. This is us. If we were all in a bar, this would be a discussion right now. Or if we were in a restaurant anywhere, Borelli's, wherever, a viewing party, this would be a discussion right now. Maybe a night with their career in a video montage. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
Great comment.
But again, I think it's very appropriate that we're playing Pittsburgh that final game.
Yeah.
For me, I want them starting. I want them to be the starting three against Pittsburgh. There's a lot of good history, Islander history against that team specifically, against Crosby, against Malkin. They are there. Let's see here. No. I'm not saying amongst them. I see. I'm not looking for rankings here, guys. I'm looking for memories. That identity line You tell any Islander fan, young or old, the identity line, you're going to come up with all three of those names. Granted, it's not the Trio Grande. I'm not comparing them to the Trio Grande.
Right.
I
And
never
you're not
would.
retired. And as Ryan just
You're
said, you're
not
not
retiring
retiring
numbers.
numbers. No, it's just, I mean, Patrick Flatley is in the Islander Hall of Fame. Was a
Yeah.
great Islander in the late 80s and 80s to 90s. He was the symbol of your team.
Right.
I would always call him
MC
lard butt.
squared. I
would always
like
call him
this.
lard butt when he went in the corners. I mean,
Sure.
he meant something. Kenny Johnson, again, another identity. He meant something to this team. That's to me is Hall of Fame. It's not for retiring your number, but it's honoring the people that made contributions to the team over a period of time.
And they did
Josh
that.
Bailey is going to be in the Islander Hall of Fame, like him or not,
Right.
because of the 1,050 games he played as an Islander. Again,
Right.
over 15 seasons. And he's made major contributions. Those are the type of people we're talking about for Hall of Fame.
Right.
Okay.
Just the Islanders Hall of Fame here. Yeah.
Yes,
And we're not saying number retirement. Right.
no,
Yeah.
honored.
We're not saying number retirement.
Honored for service to the team.
Yes. Yes. And no, I agree with all of that. I love I love all the comments that
down,
we've been
Mike.
getting. Yeah. Yeah. So listen, it's water cooler talk time. Greg, I did see your question about Bo Horvat becoming the next captain of the New York Islanders or Anders Lee taking the C off his chest and giving it to someone else. I still think that is a players meeting only.
Yes, without question.
That's still on the
Without
players.
question.
And the way Barzy still talks about Lee, I don't see that happening.
No, absolutely not. I understand
Bo's
your
gonna
thought,
do what
but
he said.
that will never happen. That will never happen. And if you were at the season ticket holder thing yesterday, you will know exactly why Anders is still the captain and will be the captain as long as he's here. I'll vote for that.
Glenn Healy. Yeah. Why not?
Anybody knows me, I will vote for that.
Yeah.
But again, he wasn't a long career here, but he's
right.
one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites.
I think Anders is going to be captain next year.
Yes.
That's
not coming off.
See, that's always it's always a tradition. It is. It's just a hockey tradition. You don't need a letter.
No.
To be a leader.
No.
In any sports team anymore. You really don't. Again, we've had this healthy debate before. Some of you definitely want Bo Horvat. Some of you definitely want Matt Barzal. All valid. I would love to see Noah Dobson get that C. Some have said he's not ready. Okay.
And just remember, there was a time in the NHL, especially when the Islanders were winning their 4 Stanley Cups, that there was no A's. They took the A out. They only brought it back in the mid 80s. So when the Islanders were winning cups, the only one that had a letter was Dennis Potvin.
Right.
And we all know the leadership on that team with Clark and Brian and Butchie and Borney and all those guys. So you as Paul eloquently said, you don't need a letter to be a captain.
Right.
And you hear about Bo talking about a lot of things, and you hear how he portrays himself. And I love Bo. So I've been following him since he got drafted. So yes, he was the captain in Vancouver, but he said in other things, there was so many guys in that room in Vancouver that didn't have the letter on their jersey, but were just as much of a leader as Bo was.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's right. Gillies was captain before Potvin. So
that's it.
Yeah, folks, for those of you who may not know, Dobson was in fact captain of his junior team that he took to the Memorial Cup. He does have that experience. I'm not saying Dobson should be captain tomorrow.
No.
Well, you know what? Let's have some fun with this. Let's have some fun with this. Anders Lee for right now keeps the C. Who are your new A's? Who are your new assistant captains? Let's go with that. Let's have some fun with that. Who would you have as your assistant
Well,
captain?
you probably would only lose one.
All right, so who's it going to go to? Barzell, Dobson, Bo? Who do you want? Enval?
Are you serious? Why don't you give it to Kyle McLean while you're at it? Well, Nelson keeps his because we know Brock is not going anywhere.
No,
So
Brock's not going anywhere.
Brock's
No.
not going anywhere, so he's got the A.
Yeah.
Engvall and Aho. Oh, shut up, Mike. Shut up.
I wouldn't go Palmieri. I think Palmieri's
No.
season will be the final one next season as well. Oh yeah, now we're all getting bad here. Wallstrom and Salo.
Salo.
Yeah. No. Do you give it to Barzell then?
I'll mention this too when we had the guys at the season ticket holder meeting last night, and Claire's mentioned it on a bunch of occasions, and sometimes she really comes up with seeing things that you and I will not see because she's
Right. No, I was laughing at Tommy's
different.
comment, but go ahead.
No, that she
Okay.
really, I think in the beginning, Claire was not one of the biggest Barzal fans, but she really says over the last year that he's really grown up and really matured to the point where, she really respects him a lot more. So no, I really think that Barzy will be that kind of material. But I honestly think in his case, I wouldn't put that pressure on him right now.
Right. Okay.
Because I think he's got the capability to go to an even higher level. And I wouldn't want to put that pressure on him to have that letter and that responsibility. I'd rather let him freelance and do what he does best.
Okay.
There are some guys are captain material, but I don't think they need the pressure of having the letters sewn on, although they might personally want it.
Right.
I think it just lets them.
That's the other thing, folks. You got to remember, it's a personal choice. If Bo Horvat, you got to remember, even though it's Vancouver, there's a lot of pressure in Vancouver to win.
On a Canadian team, 10
every
times
time.
more. 10 times more.
Bo may have a little burnout from being a captain. Just a little bit, because you go from Vancouver to New York. Look at us. Look how demanding we are. Okay? It takes a toll sometimes. Maybe he just enjoys not wearing a letter and doing and talking the way he talks.
Yep.
Maybe. We don't know. Listen, I think Wallstrom is gone from the team after the season? I don't know, Greg, and that's an honest answer. I think for right now, if we're talking younger players, I still think Wallstrom has another year to go. For me, I give him another year on a window because he was 22 this entire season. He's 23 this year, or was he 23 this year?
I think he was 23 this year.
He was 23 this year. If you were to ask me right now, if Kyle Palmieri were to be out of the lineup, who am I putting in, Wallstrom or Dufour? It would be Wallstrom. Do I think Wallstrom can still find a place here? Maybe.
And I don't think
be less.
What Ryan just said. I think Ross still has him in the plans. I really think he does.
Okay.
From what I've heard, they still have confidence in him. They still think so, but I think he needed to see a lot more from the press box. And again, it all goes back to the mishandling of him.
Correct.
And I think I really, like I said, when he was at the thing, I really did not expect to see as much positivity and much happiness in that.
And interaction,
And
right?
that's
And
his person.
interaction,
Yeah, his
right?
personality came out. It really did. And I think he wants to be here. He really
Right.
does want to be here. And if
Thanks,
he
Mike.
does
Yep.
that
Okay. It was
and he
23 this
shows
year.
it, I really don't think that's going to be a problem.
I wonder if Lou envisioned Enval as providing the offense that they wanted from Wallstrom, but know how that went. Well, listen, the thing with Enval is that he really meshed well with Horvat, with Nelson and Palmieri. It wasn't necessarily Enval himself, but it was the line. And this year, full season, I'm not in Toronto anymore. I actually have to do stuff. And I'm going to put Tommy, I'm going to bring you in here again. Hold on. I made the Enval joke, but this is kind of cute as well. Don't you have to throw in an actual check to earn an A? Yeah. To some degree, Tommy's right on that one. You got to show up to play. You got to play the Islander way. And again, this is not just with Wallstrom now. This is with a bunch of other guys.
Yep.
Some of them had 3 coaches in 2.5 years, 3 years, 2 coaches, whatever. What is
Different
the Islander
philosophies.
way?
Yep.
What is it? What is that philosophy? And I think that's the biggest downfall right now. What is the Islanders' philosophy? What is the Islanders' identity after this identity line is no more heading into next season? And it's all coming together. Whatever the identity is, it's going to trickle down to the minor league system as well. They're expected to play that way as well. And then you move forward. This is all coming together during this offseason, folks. This is what we're all going to experience. This is what happens to me every April, May, June, a little bit of July when we actually do some signings. What am I looking at? I'm taking 10 steps back with this organization. Where are they? What do I think they might do? What do I hope they do? The fanboy does come out in me, but this is where we're all coming from. So, this is why I wanted to bring you into my world a little bit. And that's fine, Rodney. I don't see Wallstrom becoming more. That's okay. Yeah. Right now, he hasn't really shown it.
No.
Did the Islanders rush Wallstrom? Yes, they did.
Without
But
question.
I don't know if that was so much Lou,
No.
again, or the COVID seasons. That the COVID seasons also wrecked him up.
Lose/COVID season / leaving college early.
Yeah, that was a big one. That was the first big red flag for me.
Factor is he left college early.
You don't leave Boston after 1 year.
No.
Sorry. You don't.
And being from that area, he should have known better.
Yeah.
He was given bad advice.
That also true. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to go a step further. Wallstrom should have stayed down in Bridgeport.
Yep.
I told you I am very much of a, I don't want to, I might be a traditionalist, but I'm Bill Torrey. I'm a Bill Torrey fan. I'm a Jimmy Devellano fan. I'm a Dave Poyle fan. I'm a Jim Nill fan. I'm a Steve Yzerman fan. Keep these kids. I'm even a Lou fan, a Devils Lou fan here when it comes to keeping those kids in the minor leagues until it's absolutely necessary to bring them up, because then you can unleash them. And then every fan is like, where did they come from? That's what I'm looking for moving forward with the rest of these draft picks coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Wally getting benched time and time again. Yes, granted, that's because he deserved it. But again, I don't think that's on Trotz so much. I don't think it's on Lambert. I don't think it's on Waugh. It goes before that. Not enough time. Listen, folks, if Oliver Wahlstrom did any kind of college, he would still be in the same exact spot where he is right now. He would be an extra forward. He would be old enough to the point where he would not be allowed in Bridgeport without going through waivers, because some team probably would have claimed him. But at the same time, the Islanders veterans stayed healthy. Where are you going to put him? You're not moving Kyle Palmieri when he's on pace for 25 goals. Maybe you keep Simon Holmstrom down a little bit, but that's where we're going. Yes, he did. He did. Gary, we're going an hour and 20 minutes here. You all right? You need to, because we're going to cut it
whatever
soon.
you want to end it, whatever.
Okay. Yeah. And we'll get into that later on, Charles. That's a much bigger can of worms that we don't have time for. But yeah, we'll get into the culture of that. Any more questions, comments, concerns? Water cooler talk time here, boys and girls. Yeah, for me, it's one more regulation loss over the weekend. If they lose one, okay.
Yep.
We're good. We're done. I will get much, much deeper into the draft. I'll definitely cover the first 2 rounds. Watch those college playoffs.
Yeah, and if Paul wants to take a Wednesday night off, I'll come on and I'll do the water cooler talk.
Yeah, and I'll give Gary all the info. Yeah. Do I think 7 years for both Mayfield and Enval was too much? I still don't think. Again, you got to get through the. I've said this for weeks now, so forgive me for being.
Yeah, Greg hasn't been on lately, so I'll give him the.
That's all right. We'll let this slide. The CBA is over in 2 years, Greg. I would like to see if Mayfield is here beyond that. Let's see that. Enval, in all honesty, he's on a prove it year next season. If he doesn't do well, I wouldn't expect his contract to be here after the CBA either. I would expect him to be over in Europe because I don't think any other team will take him. As for Scott Mayfield, I only think he's here for another 2 more years. And then after the collective bargaining agreement is finally done and over, those some of those contracts from all those teams, they can be bought out without going against the cap. I think those contracts were done on purpose to keep them here, to keep them happy, but at the same time, they got to perform. Mayfield, I think we're going to give him a little more slack this year. If things are true, he's played injured. Enval, I think we can be, you have a right to be where he's at right now.
No question.
Yeah. Let's see. Sadly, we have seen some what could have offensive talents. Samantha Hosang, Dalcole, Bellows, Wallstrom. They're all very recent. I feel I am forgetting someone else. We must develop and draft better. Listen.
Can I take this? I would say Dalcole was probably the only one of those 4 that wasn't rushed.
Yeah.
That had to come up. Josh Hosang had to come up right away because there was such a big thing on him and it was such incredible amount put on his shoulders. Kiefer Bellows, same way.
Yeah.
They pushed him too fast.
Yeah.
All three of those 4 are basically
rushed
guilty of being pushed.
Yeah. Leaving college early
unfortunately, and some people that really like him, he just, he was a good first round pick, a good junior player that unfortunately just didn't make the opportunities he had.
Yeah.
He's a good player, a good kid, a great kid, in my opinion. But unfortunately, it just didn't translate to an NHL player. And that a lot of first round picks are that way. Yeah. It's not that they're not bad picks or bad players or bad people. It just didn't. The team that picked him, it just didn't gel. Yeah. That's all.
Yeah. And for me, in another defensive Dalcole, if the Islanders didn't pick him, he would have gone in that next selection anyway. That's how high he was ranked up there. Yeah. So he was going to be a top 5, top 6, top 7 pick anyway, no matter who drafted him. That's basically it, Mike. That's basically it. Lou set him up for retirement. I personally am not expecting him to play beyond the collective bargaining agreement after 25-26. I'm not. I'm not. Was Beauvillier a washout? I don't think so. But again, this is me. I'm the weirdo here. I don't care how fast he was. I wanted him in Bridgeport. Not having Anthony Beauvillier in Bridgeport kind of hampers Michael Dalcole, kind of hampers Kiefer Bellows, kind of hampers Josh Hosang. They're all in that line.
And how's Beauvillier doing in Nashville? He's a 4th line guy. They won 6-5 last night. He was -3. But he's playing. He's playing 12 minutes a game.
He's playing.
on a team
Granted,
that's on an incredible roll right now. So
right,
he walked into it. I mean, look who he was with. Vancouver wasn't getting to play, got traded to Chicago, was
right,
playing, but was playing on a lousy team. He
right,
got dealt to Nashville. Hey, maybe Barry thought of something, bring him back. A little reunion might have worked. But he's playing on an unbelievable Nashville team right now.
right,
We're rolling on every cylinder possible, but he's
right,
playing.
right. Me, I would have kept him in Bridgeport. I would have kept Michael Grabner for 2 years and put Pavilion 2 years in Bridgeport.
Yep.
That's me. I'm old school like that.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely skating. No doubt. Absolutely
Yep.
no doubt.
Yep. That was his Achilles heel.
Yeah. That was the Achilles heel. So, all right, boys and girls, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Again, I
Enjoy it.
love coming on here, especially with the season coming to an end the way it is. These water cooler talks have been phenomenal. I love all of these
And again,
talks.
we may disagree, but we respectfully disagree.
Absolutely.
On certain things. We're not saying you're wrong. We're not saying you're right.
No, no,
And that's the good
no.
part of
But the
this.
points are made. Yeah. Yeah. The points are made. Greg, we're going to talk about this when the season's finally over. Let's finish up this season and then we'll get into that. Holmstrom, a pleasant surprise to a degree. The 5-on-5, I'm not pleased with.
No.
I'm not pleased with. Yes, he's got the 13 goals, but the 5-on-5, I'm not pleased with. I'll get into that deeper later on. So yeah, guys. Also, for those of you who are still with us, if you really love jewelry, women's jewelry, men's jewelry, we have it all the time here.
Yeah.
I'm
not wearing it now, but I wear it all the time when I go to games.
I do mine. Yeah, I'm wearing mine as well. I'll show you guys in a minute. Christine St. Louis. She's on Facebook. ChristineSt. Get your bracelet, get your necklace, men's, women's.
If you don't see it, write to her. She's got a link, where you can email to her and tell her you're interested in the Islander bracelet. She knows.
The Islander bracelet right here. I'm telling you, I don't wear stuff like this, but this is nice.
Yeah,
this is really nice quality stuff.
Very good quality material. Yes.
Okay. And we've had a lot of people come back and say, thank you for this. We've had a lot of good compliments. We've had a lot of good, pleasant buyers here. That's the other picture of the Islanders one. If you go on to ChristineSt. use Isles code as your promo code right there, you will get 10% off. Use promo code Isles Talk for 10% off. Get that. Helps her, helps us, and and we thank you ahead of time. So listen, folks, next week, for me personally, I hope we can eliminate the Islanders. We'll see what happens. Yeah. No, but what we'll probably do next week, and we'll see if Joe can get on here as well. I think it's time to start talking playoffs. I literally take off from work whenever I can. We'll talk playoffs. We'll talk matchups. If there's any other Islander news, we're going to get into the college playoffs as well.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go over the Islander stuff as well as if we ever get a chance to. Gary, where can I find you on social media?
I don't tweet much, but at IlesMet63. Tomorrow, well, it doesn't start tomorrow because tomorrow got canceled. So, I'll tweet Met stuff too, but I more read more than tweet, but
right. Yeah, I know.
Jim Mora playoffs. Mike, you're
showing your age here, boys. So listen, folks, you can follow me on X at P_Kreischer. By all means, drop, we'll do personal messages, whatever, regular comments on Twitter. That's fine. Whenever you guys want. Listen, thank you so much for coming on. We'll be on next week and we'll get to ramble some more. So thanks for coming on. See you next week. For better or for worse, folks, long term, short term, whenever, let's go Islanders.